at least a dozen times now I've had people tell me that they're talking to people they haven't talked to in 5 or 6 years that they got pissed over politics about, and just this message that's coming out has given them like I know a guy in my own personal life, he hasn't talked to his brother in 6 years because they disagreed over Trump and Biden. And even prior to that, like they just left and right. And
which one was the Biden guy?
The guy I hang out with is because obviously I live out in the country. I own guns. You know, like the people in my neck of the woods are not. Despite what they may say on a news organization somewhere, like a lot of the people I hang out with in the area of the country I live in is stereotypically red, right? Because a lot of people will vote, no matter what other influences there are, a lot of people will vote conservative just because of their Second Amendment rights, which was very much under attack in Virginia. You know, like you remember when you're out the sanctuary cities and all the counties that decided, well, even if the federal government bans this, we're not going to enforce it, type of a thing, which is crazy to see, like in our time. But yeah, he voted. He was a big Trump guy, and he watched his certain news organization, and then the other guy was for Biden, and he watched his news organization, and so they just basically picked up whatever narratives they got from each other's news, and they would just, you know, they let that destroy literally a
friendship.
Yeah, they were brothers, you know, biological brothers, and so
dumb.
That's not good for us as a country. Like,
well, it's not a wise thing to just apply to your life as a human being. You can have people in your life that have disagreements with you. I have people in my life that disagree with me on so many things. Absolutely on politics. Absolutely. You know, especially like when I was a Bernie Sanders supporter. You know, there's so many people that are like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, listen, I would like to try it that way. Let's try some guy who doesn't want war at all. Let's try some guy who wants to take a certain percentage off speculation trades in the Wall Street, where they're doing these and they're running a tiny fraction of a penny for each one of them. And he's saying it would generate an insane amount of money that could be applied to education, that could be applied to healthcare. You could give people free healthcare. You could give people free education. Well, why wouldn't we do that? If you got some guy who doesn't want to divert money to these fucking forever wars and instead wants to apply it to communities, I was like, let's give that a chance. Maybe it won't work. I don't know jack shit about politics, but I sincerely believe the guy. And I'm like, that to me is at least an option for change. And that guy had been the same guy his whole life. He had been always pushing for that his whole life. He's kind of gotten tired in his later years, but that's just understandable. He's kind of like supported.
Yeah, and so you believing in someone shouldn't suspend your friendships or relationships with other people. Like, I guess
it's just you're hanging out with dummies. People should have I have many friends that are Trump supporters. I have many friends that wholesale believe in the Democratic Party no matter what. It's a million times better no matter what anybody says. And no matter what anybody says about the Biden family, the Trump family,
I've seen a lot of people change that now, though, in recent years. Like, even people who were hardcore conservatives and hardcore Democrats, like, I don't think whatever a Republican and Democrat was represented at some point in time is anymore. Like, both sides have. I mean, like I said, I love freedom of speech and I love the Second Amendment, but there's a lot of things that I see that I don't like. I mean, you got to think, I'm 31, so I was in 4th grade at 9/11. So we were in endless war from 9/11 on, and you know, even when we shouldn't have been, like, so both sides have like just picked up on things and ran with it, but they use certain emotional triggers to like keep their fan base happy, you know, like, oh, they're going to take your guns, and the other side, they've got all their emotional triggers and their things that they're trying to feed their audience with. But I guess, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't help either side to pick. Like, no, in my opinion, no one can go into that position in politics, in the White House, or anything else for that matter at this point, because of how just inefficient and how large the federal government is. I don't think anybody can go into those positions and overnight save everything. They can certainly make big influences. I mean, you saw when Trump was in office, the economy was rocking. But then other things that he did, you know, like there's things like warp speed and all that, like that, there was a lot of controversy around all of that. And so,
well, he would have to be a vaccine scientist to even understand what they were doing. And imagine being him and this is not to defend Donald Trump, but imagine being him and being in control of all of it. You're in control of the economy. You're in control of foreign relations. You're in control of the biggest military the world has ever known. You're in the public eye. You're tweeting about your ex-girlfriend being horse-faced. Like, it's like,
yeah, I don't think one person can do
so much
it.
shit going on in that guy's life. Do you think that he had the time to investigate the efficacy of the COVID vaccines that were this novel mRNA technology that never been applied to hundreds of millions of people? And then you had to trust the CDC and Fauci and all those people. Like, how could he know? How could anybody know?
And that's a good example of why I don't think we can or should rely on one person to save us on all those issues. It's something we've got to work out on a personal level. You know.
Well, it's insane.